Real estate is one of the simplest ways to build long-term wealth, and one of the easiest ways to get wrecked if you don't know what you're doing. So this show, it exists for one main reason: clarity. Me and Keith, we're talking deals, markets, financing, flips, all of it, but always through the lens of what's working, what isn't working, and why. I'm your host, Dayton Lindsey, and I promise you that this podcast is going to help you save time, money, and you from painful lessons. So, let's get into this. Wha-bam! Here we are, back again. Keith, say something.
I'm trying to think of the song, Back Again. I don't know.
Oh, no, we're going to get copyrighted. Don't sing it, we're going to get copyrighted.
That's right. Nobody report.
All the revenue gone. All the revenue gone. All right, well, we're just going to jump right into this then. There's a theory that the best motivated sellers are landlords over 70 who are free and clear rentals. Now, they're getting pretty up there, so they're tired, they don't want a big check, they just want out from their landlord's position. Have you seen that play out? And how do you even find those people specifically who want out and are like 70 over, ready for retirement?
Yeah, so I love this list. I love it. But I'll also say, with the caveat of, this is not the only very niche list. There's a lot of lists that are like this, but I love the creativity. If you just think like, who has a really high statistical probability of wanting to get rid of their house? There's many lists that you can come up with, right? So this one would be a high equity or all equity, right? No mortgage at all. Absentee owner, landlord, age 70 plus. How could we make it better? We could make it better if it was an out-of-state absentee owner rather than an in-state absentee owner. We could make it better if they were recently cited for a code violation. That means that there is repairs on the house that is violating a city code, and they've actually been cited saying, hey, if you don't fix this, we're going to fine you. So that shows that that landlord has been deferring the maintenance on the house. Typically, if they've been deferring maintenance, they don't have the money to put into the maintenance, which means that they haven't been raising rents, which means that you could come in there, fix up the house, and then immediately re-rent it for a significant jump from who was like literally, we've done this where somebody was renting it for like $750 and we did like $15,000 of renovation, and then we were able to rent it for like $1,500, double, just with $15,000 of renovation. So you can get even more specific, you can get even more creative. How do you find these people? Well, this would be lists. We're actually coming out with our own software really quickly, so I'm glad. Thanks for doing this. It gives me the ability to put in a plug for Deal Labs. So Deal Labs, it does not yet have this functionality, but we will very soon, Lord willing. You will be able to do all of those filters that I just mentioned: high equity, absentee owner, out of state, landlord, code violation, 70 plus age. We even have aerial footage. So I'm not talking satellite footage. Satellite footage is 50,000 feet up in the air. I'm talking aerial, like a plane taking aerial footage at 2,000, 3,000, 4,000. So the quality is much better. And this allows us to see things way faster than Google, right? Google will update their images like once every 2 years. But sometimes you can go
once every 2. I'm still seeing stuff from rural areas. 2014, so yeah.
Yeah. Especially in rural areas. Google doesn't really update that stuff. And so if you were to go to Google Earth or Google Maps, you'll see in the bottom, I forget if it's in the left or the right, but it'll actually say the year that it was that it was last taken. Man. So with aerial footage, it gets updated way more frequently. Therefore, we can see, like, you still have that pool? Why does your roof look so bad? Wow, there's a lot of broken down cars in your backyard, so on and so forth, that you can't see with Google Earth. This makes a huge difference. So there's all the functionality that I already said, plus additional functionality that you get when it comes to satellite and aerial footage with AI analysis baked into it. And we're also able to see other things like what it automatically, by the way, it automatically does this. It pulls what is the fair market rental rate. It pulls what it off of the HUD.gov. What is the Section 8 renting for your zip code for a 3-bedroom house, so on and so forth. Like, all of this is done for you. It gives you a quantified score based off of 4 economies, if you want to think about it like this. There's an economic score, there's a motivation score, there's an urgency score, and there is a motivation, urgency, economics, and condition. So it'll score each of those separately. They're weighted differently, and then it will give an overall score. This way, you can just filter by deal score, and instead of wasting time looking at 100 properties to then talk to call 10 of them to get in touch with 3 of them to put 1 under contract. Likely, it's even going to be worse than that. It's going to be closer to like 150. This will significantly shorten your learning curve and shorten the time that you're spending analyzing deals, because it's all been analyzed for you with exceptionally good data and then analyzed by AI to put into the scoring model. So you'll be able to call 10 people and get in touch with 8 of them. And out of those 8, do 3 deals, right? It's like, it is super, super, super high efficiency. You no longer have to go look at 100 properties. So all of this is going to be able to be done in Dealbase. There is some other software. Thank you, Deal Labs. Appreciate you saying that. Dealbase is our CRM. So if you want our CRM, we can talk about that in another episode. But this one's Deal Labs.
I just learned that the CRM and the Dealbase were the same thing like last week.
Yes. Yeah. Well, that's because we're rebranding it, right? It used to just be called REI Automated CRM. And now that we're actually selling it separately as of next month, we needed to break it off. So we're gonna have Deal Labs, Deal Base, Deal GPT, which is a 24/7. It used to be called Keith GPT. Why? Because it's trained on 400 videos, like almost 100 hours of content, and then every office hours for the last 4 years, I've had an AI bot in office hours. We've taken all of those and turned it into a RAG model. Not to get too nerdy, but we have a fine-tuned model that is, and I said we're not going to get too nerdy, but it is vector stored. Yeah, we're using vector storage so that it can recall. It has amazing memory and it can recall things very, very quickly. So there's like 70,000 or 90,000. Sorry. That's not my son pranking me. That's the Coast Guard.
We're gonna have a noise in every one of these episodes now.
We're so close to the water here. Sometimes we get these Coast Guard announcements for weather. So really, really awesome. That's what Deal GPT is. Then we have Deal Bots that we're training right now. We're gonna have a speed to lead AI voice caller as well as a follow-up voice agent that are gonna make outbound as well as take inbound calls automatically. Just get people lined up, right? Let's get them qualified. Let's get them on your calendar. Let's get basic information collected from them. They're going to be very highly trained again on all of our material. So that's what DealBots is. And we're building Deal Sim as well, because I want people to be able to quote unquote practice real estate investing in a risk-free environment where they're not wasting money on marketing, when they're not hurting other people if they fail to, because this is a huge thing, right? People suck.
Super
Wholesalers suck.
huge.
Where they'll
See
put a
with
property under
stock
contract.
market.
It's super helpful to put people in an environment where it's risk-free for all parties, meaning you're not wasting money on marketing. You're not going to hurt the seller by putting them under contract and then dragging them through the mud for 30 to 45 days before you let them go because you had the price way too high because you don't know what you're doing, or actually getting into a bad deal and losing your own money or a private money lender's money. That's a huge risk. So instead, let's put people in a controlled environment where there's always at least 2 gotchas. Like, I am planning this on deals that I've done, or even deals that I haven't done, where it was like, I didn't do the deal because of this thing, right? So you are getting put into the simulator. I got this idea from my buddy who was a Navy pilot, and even in the Marines, we do the same thing. If you know what like a F-35 is, or F-22, whenever you hop into a fighter jet, the military doesn't just let you go straight into the jet. Like, first you have to do a simulated run. You have to do a couple of touch and goes on the simulator because they don't want to put you in a $30 million piece of equipment and then you crash, right? Let's make sure that we're warmed up. And if you were to watch like the Blue Angels, they always they'll hop into a room, eyes closed, and they imagine themselves in front of the controls, and they're all doing their same aerial flight patterns together in unison. It's the coolest thing to watch. So I want to do that for real estate investors. We're building out this simulated environment. It's going to be called Deal Sim. And then if you want all of it, if you want Deal Sim, Deal Labs, Deal Base, Deal GPT, Deal Box, then you just get the Deal OS, which is the deal operating system. You want to be doing more deals in less time with less money. That's really what REI Automated is all about. Making sure that you have a high efficiency in what you're doing, a high effectiveness in what you're doing. And it's my job to effectively, create efficiencies that collapse time, that lets you do more deals in a shorter period, with less headache and less risk to you. So that's going to be the deal operating system. Anyway, all this stuff is kind of unfolding, and that's the reason why we're doing this podcast, is to gain some awareness. And that's my unplanned pitch. Okay, there you go. Deal Labs already has the ability to scrape listed data, so on market properties, and we are in the process of acquiring the off market property leg right now. We're in negotiations right now to be able to afford to give that to you guys at a very, very good price.
Well, super exciting.
Yeah, it's really exciting. It'll be half the cost. That's my goal, is half the cost of what I paid when I got started. And this is a decade later, right? We're in 2026. I got started in 2016. The things that I paid $200, $300, $400 for per month will be $100, $150, $200 present day. Very, very poor margins on our side, on the business side. But that's not what I'm doing it for, right? That's not going to be the moneymaker. So that's what's to come. Thanks for asking. Thanks for letting me say my piece.
Of course. If someone came to you and said, another wholesaler keeps beating me to the same sellers every single time, what would you tell them? How do you outsource your competition?
Well, they obviously have a lower speed to lead than you. And so the question would be, what is your current marketing medium? Like, is it PPC? Is it PPL? Is it direct mail? So on and so forth. And chances are, if this is a reoccurring thing with the same investor, almost guaranteed. Like, there's probably at least a 70, if not an 80% chance that that you're talking about a PPL provider. Because with PPC, you're not going to be butting into the same person over and over and over. With direct mail, you're not going to be butting into the person over. And if you're running meta ads, you're not going to be butting into the same. PPL, this happens all the time. And I feel like I have a good stage to speak on right now, as we have like hundreds of people in the group. So I know when people are running into each other because they talk about it on like office hours calls. And when does that happen? It happens mainly with PPL. Sometimes it'll happen with PPC if you're like in the same market. So I would tell them, well, first we need to diagnose what is the marketing medium. Would want to confirm that it's PPL. Once I know what the marketing medium is, then I would want to know, are you tracking your speed to lead? Chances are, if you're not using Dealbase, which is our CRM, you're not tracking speed to lead. Or if you are, it's manual, it's not automatic, and you suck at it. Like, people just do not track speed to lead. And I am here to tell you unequivocally, based off of more than 10,000 leads, my own leads, I know that speed to lead is the most important metric there is to track when it comes to getting in conversation with a person. If you want to talk to somebody, your speed to lead is the most important. Alex Hermosi just put out a video. I say just, but it was probably about a month ago, where he was quoting a study that compared 30 seconds to 30 minutes. Pretty sure it might have been 60 seconds to 30 minutes, but regardless, we're talking about a difference of 30 seconds. It's not a big deal. I think that it was 30 seconds to 30 minutes. And they did this across like 200 different business niches, meaning not just real estate investors, but like hair salons, landscaping companies, CPAs, like totally different industries, right? And what they concluded was that the difference between your lead connection is going to be 100 times more likely to connect if you get to them within the first 30 seconds versus the first 30 minutes. And I shouldn't have used the word connect. That's not what he said. He said convert, meaning a sale is had. You get money. Okay. You do a deal. Whether that means buying their house or getting a listing if you're a realtor, or getting an appointment if you're a hair salon, or getting a client if you're a CPA, or getting a contract if you are a landscaping company, right? So all these things, all these different vendors have different definitions of what a conversion means, but how Alex Hermosi defined it is a conversion is a transfer of money for goods and services. 100 times more likely you get to them within 30 seconds versus 30 minutes. And this is proven time and time and time again. There are so many studies on speed to lead. I don't think that people take it serious enough. It is the most important metric that, number one, needs to be tracked, and number two, needs to be improved. If you can get to people within the first 60 seconds, you are almost going to get the deal just by default, because you're the first person that called them back. So get better. It would be my answer to your question. If somebody keeps beating you, if another wholesaler keeps beating you to the leads, it's not because their offer was higher. It's not because they're more personable. It's not because they're hitting them with more marketing. Because they picked up the phone and called them faster than you. So do better. And if you can't do better, hire somebody and train them and hold high standards to make sure that your company does better. Because when you're putting good money towards marketing, you can't afford to fail your customers. This is a non-negotiable.
Quick aside, if you're getting value out of this, make sure to hit the like, subscribe, and drop a comment down below with what you want Keith and me to cover next. It helps the channel out a lot, and it tells us what you want to learn about. Anyways, back to the video. You've built up a brand in this market. How much of your deal flow now comes from your inbound leads versus you chasing them? And what do you actually do to flip that switch?
Maybe you know something that I don't know that you know, but we just recently created a form. Do you know about this? We recently created a form that we pass to people who send me messages in the DMs.
No, I don't think I do.
Oh, all right, cool. So I just entered,
Without
like
taking
literally
that.
last week. Yeah, that was cool. Like you have some intuitive sense about you. We just kind of entered into like phase three of our business in Crowne Properties. So phase one is I started real estate when I was 20 years old, right? So like literally I did not even have $1,000 in my savings account. We had just gotten married. We had just had, I know that we had our daughter. I think that we might have even had our son. No, we hadn't even had our son when I got into real estate. So I'm just like broke as a joke, right? We have
Mhm.
no money. And outbound marketing, when I'm going to them, so outbound marketing is when I'm going to the lead, inbound marketing is when the lead comes to me. The only thing that I could afford was outbound marketing. So we're doing the cold calling and the text blasting and the ringless voicemails and the direct mail and the bandit signs and the door knocking and the magnets and uh, driving for dollars, things like this. Because it's way cheaper, right? You're spending a lot more of your time and a lot more of your energy and your mental capacity, but you're saving the dollars. So if that's what you need to do to get into real estate, that's what you should do because it absolutely works. For the first 4.5 years, that's what I did. However, in 2019, I went to an almost exclusive inbound marketing. So I totally switched what I was doing at the end of 2019, and by 2020, I was 100% into Google PPC and SEO. So I was all online and all inbound marketing. This was a wonderful change of pace for me because number one, I could afford it. Number two, all these people are coming to me. There's something to be said about the sales frame of like, I have what they want. Um,
Mhm.
Also, I could get really picky on where I was getting leads and what kind of leads I was getting because of the keywords, for example, that we were bidding on and what the website said. There was just a way more control over the types of leads that I was getting, and I liked that. I enjoyed talking to people who wanted to talk to me. And so from 2020 until 2026, that's what we did was all inbound PPC, PPL, SEO, all 100% inbound. I did no outbound whatsoever. 2026, right now, we've just implemented last week a form because I'm getting hit by a lot of DMs. I get over 100 direct messages just on Facebook alone, not including, TikTok and WhatsApp and Instagram and blah, 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 right?
Mhm.
So, frankly, most of these people who are sending me deals, they're not deals. They suck. One in 20, I'll be interested in. The other 19, the ARV is way inflated. The repairs are like, oh, it's $5,000. And then I look at the pictures, it's like, bro, this is like $45,000. You're not even close. Well, we're just getting it in livable condition. Yeah, you can't just use the repairs to get it in livable condition, but then expect top market value. If you
Mhm.
are going to bring it fully up to top market value, you're going to spend close to $50,000 on this house. So there's just folks that don't know what they're doing when it comes to running numbers. But about 1 in 20, smoke and deal. And I'll buy deals in all 50 states. I have bought deals in 34 states. But as long as I can make money on it, I'm down to, broaden my number. I would like to buy in 35 and 36, 38 and 40 states, right? Eventually, maybe I'll get to all 50. There's really hard states like Nebraska. I'll probably never do a deal in Nebraska or Alaska, right? They're kind of hard states to do deals in.
Yeah, Alaska is like way, way out there.
Yeah, I probably won't touch it unless it's in Anchorage, to be honest. Anyway,
Has a good
so
drop line.
just this year, 2016, 10 years into my real estate investing career, am I starting to get enough of a social media presence that people are actually sending me leads/deals? And so some people, they haven't put the property under contract yet because they're so new they don't even have a purchase and sales agreement. If this is you, I want to help you. I will give you my purchase and sales agreement for free. We literally have a website just dedicated to this. And if you want to buy my purchase and sales agreement protection package is $47. Is so worth it. It gives you all the other it gives you the training and all the other documents and paperwork that you'll need to be successful. So a lot of people, they don't have the property under contract yet. They just have some general idea of the condition, the motivation, the time frame, urgency, things like this. Mm-hmm. I'll work with that person. I'll help them put that property under contract. Thank you, sweetie. A lot of folks, though, they do have the property put under contract, and I'll totally buy your wholesale deal. Like, I have given people, what's the largest assignment that I've given? I usually do like $10,000 to $15,000 for an assignment fee. I've gone as high as, I think, $40,000 is the highest assignment fee that I've ever paid out. Depends on the strength of the deal. What it is really what it comes down to. And so I have a form. You fill out your contact information. You fill out the information of the deal. And then on page 3, I give you an instant result on whether or not I'm interested. If I am, here's the next step. If I'm not, here's the next step. So, you know, the paths diverge on page 3. But man, I have had to work for 10 months building my social media presence, putting out, my God, how many videos are we putting out a day? 15 to 20 videos a day for the last 10 months in order to start and if I only had this, by the way, I don't think that I could live. Maybe I could. We would do a deal a month based off of the volume of leads and properties under contract that I'm getting in my inbox. About a deal a month. Mm-hmm. So it's equivalent to $2,000 of marketing, roughly. I like that. But unless you're crushing it with each of those deals, like it's a high price point market, you can't really live. If you're a solopreneur, you can. If you have a team, you cannot feed it all the mouths, you know, and pay for all of the overhead of a company like an organization. One deal a month is not enough to sustain. I feel like that was a very long answer to your question. Does that fully answer?
It was a long answer. It was an in-depth answer.
Yeah, it was.
Maybe tangent adjacent, but
it was.
But it was a good one.
It answered all the other questions that was close to it.
It got the base question, then it got all the connecting ones.
Yes.
So the last question I have for you is, there are novation agreements, options, land contracts, and wraps. There are so many ways to control or transfer a property without a traditional purchase. How does an investor know which structure fits which situation? What would be the key elements they would need to look for to decipher between these options?
Great question. So this goes into far more detail than I could possibly answer you on a podcast. So I'll give you the Wavetop 101 version, and then I'll direct everybody who's listening on where to go to get more free, great information on this. You have both entrance strategies. What you just mentioned, Dayton, was both entrance strategies as well as exit strategies, where you were talking about an option. Well, an option is an entrance strategy, whereas a novation is an exit strategy, right? Or like you could buy something subject to as the entrance strategy, and you could do a flip as an exit strategy, or whatever. There's many ways of structuring a deal, both entrance and exit. For example, some of the time it's only going to make sense. The numbers are only going to make sense if you are buying the house subject to its underlying mortgage. However, you may have a concern that the mortgage is going to be called due. Well, then don't buy it subject to. Because that's actually transferring real estate. Instead, put that real estate in a trust and then assign the beneficial interest of the trust to you, the investor, and retain that person on the trust as an owner of the trust, but not a controlling manager of the trust. This makes sure that you are legally and ethically allowing that person to not violate their mortgage because the real estate hasn't been transferred, right? This is very, very important. It's not a real estate transfer. When you transfer that, you're not even transferring. You're assigning your beneficial interest of the trust. That's actually considered personal property, not real property.
Okay.
That's how we get real estate. Real estate is real property, whereas personal property is personal trust. So you're assigning the beneficial interest over to the investor. Well, this is cool because it doesn't violate the due on sale clause. And if that's a concern for you, then doing sub 2 is, a little bit risky. Whereas this way, you completely shelf that risk while still maintaining all of the benefits. So how do you know when to do it? Well, first you need to understand basic deal structure. Next, you need to understand how to analyze the property so that you know which of the deals structures to use. That's it. I would say it's a 2-step process. Number 1, understand the deal structure. Number 2, understand how to analyze deals. 2 different skill sets. And so here's how I would direct you. Anybody who's listening to this, you're about to get not just one thing for free, but 2 things for free. The first is we have the deal structures dictionary, is the course that I have that teaches you how to buy things with cash, with hard money, with private money, with a DSCR loan, taking it subject to the underlying mortgage, trust acquisitions, owner financing, a hybrid of both of those. It teaches you the exit strategies like wholesaling and wholesaling and retailing and wrapping and renting and novations and lease options. And I feel like there's one more that I'm like blanking on right now. But there's a lot of these entrance strategies and a lot of these exit strategies. Number 1, you have to know about them. So go through my course. You can just go to my Facebook. Literally, it's the pinned post on my Facebook. You can get this course for free. Click on it, watch 5 minutes of the video, and you're done. You're in. This course is like 10 hours. This is not some crappy, me sitting up in front of a class of people talking for 60 minutes. This is very intentional. I wrote out a syllabus of what I'm going to teach, how I'm going to teach it. I spent a lot of time. There's probably 30, 40 hours into this course, even though I realize the course itself is maybe only 8 or 10 hours. There was a lot of preparation and then post-processing afterwards. A lot of intentionality. You can get this absolutely for free by going to my Facebook. And now that you've taken that course, you understand the deal structure. Now you can use our deal analyzer in order to get in there. You can also, if you finish the deal structure course, there's actually a way inside the course to get the deal analyzer for free and the deal analysis course for free. You have to finish this one first. But as soon as you do, you can get into the deal analyzer for free. We've also made this into a software. So you can also get it's amazing too. It is absolutely fantastic. It walks you through a guided step-by-step process in our software. This is built into DealBase. And you can try that out for just $1, by the way. You can get in there and it'll walk you through step by step. It'll ask you all the questions, you input all the data, and it will tell you, this is the best entrance strategy. This is the best exit strategy. And here's why. And it will give you an apples to apples comparison. If you do this exit strategy and this exit strategy, and this entrance strategy and this exit strategy, and this entrance strategy versus this exit strategy, and then what about this one and this one, and then this one and this one, so on and so forth. Really, really cool what we've been able to do inside the software. All for $1 built into the software, or you can get the regular, just the plain old deal analyzer for free. That's it. That would be the solution to your problem, or the answer to your question. Is you need to know how to structure deals. You need to know how to analyze deals. What is the best way to do that? Going through my course is going to be the best way. I have literally dedicated the last decade of my life to 56 courses that I have paid more than $300,000 for, and taken the time to record all of this stuff. All yours for free. There you go. Have at it. Learn how to structure deals better.
And with that being said, we're going to close out this episode on that final endpoint. Thank you for watching, everyone. Keith, do your thing.
Thanks, y'all. If you have any questions, make sure to drop them in the comments and I'll answer it on the next one. Bye for now.
Real estate isn't magic, it's a skill. And the people who win long term are the ones that keep stacking the reps. That means learning, analyzing, staying patient, and making good decisions. If you want to keep building that skill with us, make sure to subscribe and send this to someone who needs to hear it, because I know you know someone that needs to. Anyways, that's all for today. Take care.